crypto boys and ghouls, and welcome back to the channel, Tales from the Cryptmancer, where we feature content on play and earn games on the blockchain, such as Splinterlands. Now, I know it's been a little while since I've created Splinterlands specific content, as I've been taking some time to create some Splinter Forge content, but I guarantee you today's video is something that you're going to want to watch all the way through to the end, and it's going to be important to probably listen to and understand. And what we're going to do today is we're going to have a discussion on soulbound reward cards, and I'm going to provide a warning about the soulbound rewards cards that you should be aware of and how it, in theory, could be the death knell of Splinterlands. Now, I know that is drastic, that is clickbaity, I didn't put that in the title, but I want to talk about this because I think it's something that deserves calling attention to and for us as a community to discuss. But before we do that, I want to go through today, I want to share my season chest openings here in Champion earlier today, what we got from the reward chests, champion chests. It was like 60 some odd champion chests that we opened today as end of season. Our first full season in the new soulbound reward card era. This is what we pulled. And after we take a look at what we pulled here in the chest, I'm going to go through my first 2 weeks of soulbound reward cards to share with you how far along we've advanced our soulbound reward cards, and then talk a little bit about my strategy for the Splinterlands game now with all my accounts and cards, as well as lead into where I believe there are some challenges with soulbound reward cards and something that I think we should address as a community and bring to the attention of the Splinterlands team. With that being said, again, here are my chest openings from earlier today. You can see we're getting plenty of soulbound reward cards. We got a few Chaos Legion packs as well for good measure, so that's always nice. And, you know, I can honestly say that, you know, from a pure user experience perspective, the soulbound reward cards are fantastic. I mean, it's great for the game as a player coming in here, opening up cards, combining cards every day, you know, getting excited for your daily focus claim and seeing what cards, you know, you're going to be able to add to your collection. And that's great. You know, from a user experience perspective and a player perspective, this is fantastic. I have 100% in agreement with pretty much the community on that aspect. But there also is a dark side to soulbound reward cards, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. So here is my collection on my account here after 2 weeks of playing here with soulbound reward cards. And let me just share with you some of the cards that we've been able to achieve here. You know, we've got a level 4 Ferox Defender, we've got a level 4 Fire Caller, level 2 Firewatch Devil, level 3 Swamp Spitter, level 3 Coastal Sentry, we got Riverboat Captain, Pembroke Nymph, Epic level 1 Noah the Just. We've got a legendary Kulu Mastermind, a legendary Musa Celine, a level 4 Fungus Flinger, a level 4 Terracious Grunt, some level 2s here. We got a Madcap Magus, we got a level 3 Summoner and Lob Lowland, another legendary Ava the Undaunted. We've got a level 3 Imperial Knights, a level 4 Drybone Barbarian, a level 2 War Pegasus, a level 2 Summoner here for life and Franz, a level 2 Epic and Evelyn. We've got a level 4 Possessed Puppet. We've got a level 4 Gold Wily Kaioshin, a level 3 Raven Hood Warden, a level 2 Death Summoner and Octavia, or actually a level 3 Gold Foil Octavia Shadow Meld Summoner, level 2 Epic Will-O-Wisp. We've got a level 2 Dragon card there. We've got level 3, or excuse me, a level 5 Gold Foil Gobson Bomber, a level 2 Dumak Orc, a level 2 Minari Marks Rat, and a level 1 Epic Clockwork Aiden. And this is fine. I mean, this is fantastic progress for just 2 weeks of soulbound reward cards. Because remember, the Splinterlands team has said these cards will be with us for probably a year, maybe 2 years. And herein lies part of the problem is after 2 weeks or one season of playing at the diamond champion level, I essentially have probably a silver level deck here of silver level soulbound reward cards after 2 weeks. And, after a month, I'll probably have a gold level quality soulbound reward cards for the most part. After 2 months, who knows, maybe it takes 3 months to get to a diamond level, or I don't know. I mean, the point is after 2 weeks, we have basically a bronze silver level deck here. And we're going to talk a little bit more what that means for the future of Splinterlands. But let me just give you an idea here of my strategy and what I'm doing and how this could be a problem for the game. So for me, all of my entire wild cards that I own in Splinterlands right now are renting for 27 cents. It's like, I think 300 and I forget, it's like 3,900 DEC a day. I have to check. Let me check Peak Monsters 1 second. So yeah, it's 394 DEC a day, which is roughly, I don't know, 27 cents roughly. And that's over $3,000 worth of wild cards here on this account that we're renting out. And these are champion level cards here that we're renting for literally pennies, like 27 cents for champion level wild full deck with meta cards there. And let me share one other piece of data with you here. This is Splex.gg. This is their season reward lookup. This is from last season with soulbound reward cards running a champion diamond level deck here. It doesn't include potion values. It doesn't include the soulbound reward cards. It doesn't include merits. Through this last season, which was a shortened season, right? We cleared $53.99.8. So roughly $54 in value from our diamond champion level deck. I just mentioned that I'm renting out my entire wild deck that's meta and that can easily make champion for 27 cents a day. So you do the math. 27 cents a day times 14 days is less than $54. So you're getting through SPS and through packs basically plenty of capital to not only fund your rentals to farm diamond champion level rewards, but also pay for themselves and make money doing so. And so herein lies the issue or the problem with soulbound reward cards. After 2 weeks, right, I've got basically a deck that I can supplement here that can get probably silver rank after one more season with summoners in place. Let's say maximum 4 seasons. Let's say 2 months it takes me to get to level 4 summoners, level 2 summoners, whatever, for all of the splinters. And then I have on this account forevermore the ability to print bronze minimum, silver more than likely, SPS rewards forevermore in this game. And then I can just move on to the next account and farm at the champion diamond level for, let's say, 2 months or less and do the same thing, rinse and repeat. So this is the issue, is bot farms are going to chew this up and eat this up, and this is going to make tons of bot farm accounts that are going to have soulbound reward cards at various levels for farming. Now, the most ambitious bot farmers will probably shoot for max level decks here for soulbound reward cards to farm max level rewards, but other farmers will be content with just creating literally thousands of soulbound reward accounts for them to farm forevermore in this game. And what is my strategy? Taking this knowledge into account, my strategy this season has changed. Like, for example, this last season, I didn't rent out any of my cards. In fact, what I did is I took my cards and I moved them onto a total of 3 other accounts besides my main. And my main, as you can see, I got the Champion 2 and I was able to get all these soulbound reward cards. On the other 2 accounts that I created, one running Archmage, the other running Xbot, they both reached Diamond 2 Modern. And I farmed a ton of reward cards, soulbound reward cards on those accounts instead of renting those cards out for literally pennies and getting nothing in exchange for that. I'm sacrificing a few pennies today to basically farm soulbound reward cards, so I'll be able to farm just like the bot farmers out there, SPS rewards forevermore, and dump SPS on to anyone that wants to buy SPS in the future, because honestly, that's the only way anyone can play and earn in Splinterlands right now. And I hate to be harsh, talking about these concepts, but this is the fact of the matter is everyone's happy. Like me as a player, I'm happy that I'm getting soulbound reward cards. I like to play. I like to get the daily focuses. I like to level up my cards. But the problem is behind the scenes, there's real game economic issues that I don't think people are realizing here. So in addition to those 2 diamond accounts that farm soulbound reward cards, I also spun up a silver level account just using spare, one-off BCX cards using Splintermate. And that farmed plenty of soulbound reward cards as well at the bronze level this past season. I think, yes, this is great for players, but it also is bot farm heaven, and there's going to be challenges and issues moving forward. Now, let me just do a segue here and talk about some more data here for you. All right, so as we discussed today, we're going to be talking soulbound reward cards and giving you this warning. So, like, we are, as players, the person on the right here, right? We are happy. We are loving soulbound reward cards. We're ecstatic. We're loving the game. Everything's great. The economy, on the other hand, is about to get stabbed in the back by this gentleman on the left here with the knife, right? This could be the equivalent of, the thousands of bot farmers just licking their chops right now as they look at the earning potential in the future for soulbound reward cards. Specifically, let's take a look at the starter card example for the Fire Splinter. These are the starter cards that are available as ghost cards that you can play as a new player in Splinterlands. The breakdown right now is 12 cards, 1 summoner, 5 range monsters, 4 more melee monsters, 1 magic monster, and 1 no attack tank. This is what previously, essentially, the bot farms used with ghost cards and that exploit there for several months, probably almost a year, to farm rewards indiscriminately and just print DEC and reward cards, right? And that's why they stopped the ability to earn for starter or ghost cards, right? But I want you to look at this set here of the starter cards, and we're going to compare it to the current soulbound reward cards. Remember, the soulbound reward cards is a card set of 43 cards, and I think that also does not include the summoners here. So they've included summoners as soulbound reward cards, which I think is a big mistake. Now, if we look at the soulbound reward card example for the Fire Splinter, we have 7 cards here. There's 1 summoner, 2 ranged monsters, 2 melee monsters, 1 magic monster, and 1 no attack tank. Now, the delta between the starter cards deck and the soulbound reward card deck here is a delta of 3 range monsters and 2 melee monsters. But the challenge here is if you wanted to basically farm at bronze or silver, you could easily make up that delta by, look, surprise, surprise, the Chaos Legion reward cards, right? There are 5 cards from the Chaos Legion reward cards that are printed that are super cheap and super accessible, either for renting or for buying for large mass bot farms. And these 5 cards consist of 3 range monsters, 1 melee monster, and a no attack tank. Remember, the starter card delta that we were looking at between soulbound reward cards and the starter card or ghost cards was 3 range monsters and 2 melee monsters. It's easily made up here by cheap and inexpensive Chaos Legion reward cards that can fill in the gaps here from an earning perspective, especially at the mass bot farm level, at the bronze or silver level. Now, here's some hard predictions that I want to call out and just talk through, right? So my belief here is that bot farms will do what I'm doing as a player, but do it better and more efficiently. They're going to farm the crap out of soulbound reward cards, right? Their strategies may differ between bot farms. For example, some may focus on higher level decks at Diamond and Champion and rent out those cards and cover the rental costs through earning the rewards like we just saw in my Splex report on what you can earn back from those rewards. Or they might just go the mass route and just use lower level free decks at bronze and silver and just rent out basically a silver or bronze farming deck that literally can be had for probably less, I mean, literally pennies, if not a penny a day in rentals right now in the current rental prices. And the end results are going to be the same no matter which route they go. As large bot farms, they're going to have large quantities of accounts with max level for farming purposes, soulbound reward cards, and they're going to eternally be able to farm SPS with those cards forevermore. Now, once bots have their soulbound decks for farming, they're never going to have to rent cards again, or very rarely, if ever, right? So the rental card demand in a vacuum, right, if there's no other things like land or anything else happening that requires rental cards, the rental card demand is going to continue to decline as bot farms become self-sufficient. You know, they don't buy or own cards today, so they're not going to probably change their ways and do that moving forward. So all indications are once these bot farm accounts are soulbound and self-sufficient, they're not going to rent anymore. And what are they going to do? They're going to farm indefinitely, printing SPS at no cost other than the computing power that's required to just run their bot farms and submit their battles. And they're going to take that SPS and what do you think they're going to do with that SPS that they're farming? Do you think they're going to stake it or save it or do something, virtuous with it? No, what is the whole point of a bot farm? The whole point of a bot farm is to farm something and extract value and dump it and sell it so they can take that money and do, whatever bot farmers want to do with that money, right? And they're going to use it like they just have planted millions of little money trees in their backyard. And you'll be thinking, well, Tails, why are you concerned with this? Why can't you just be happy and use your champion level account, your 2 diamond accounts, and your silver account that you have, and just farm soulbound reward cards and shut up and don't say anything. Just be happy. And yeah, I mean, I'm doing that. I'm obviously happy. I'm doing that right now. I told you I'm doing it. And the reason I'm doing it is because if I don't do it, I'm going to fall behind all these other bot farms doing the same thing. And it's fine for me to do it. I could do this and not say anything and spin up as all kinds of accounts and do this, which is fine. But I want to bring it to the community's attention because just because you ignore a problem doesn't mean the problem isn't there. And with it festering here, it could cause significant issues to the Splinterlands ecosystem, the Splinterlands game, and the Splinterlands economy. And this is why I bring this up because, yeah, I mean, again, I could stick my head in the sand and just be happy and say, hey, there's nothing I can do about it. Bot farms are going to farm. Let them do it. But here is the point. The point is that you and I, as invested players of Splinterlands, are going to pay ultimately the price for this exploit via depressed SPS values. And honestly, perhaps the end of the game due to SPS value literally going to like sub-zero, like Axie SLP pricing, because, the play and earn aspect of the game is all based on SPS earnings right now. And if that tanks below 2 cents, and let's say it goes to 0.002 cents, that's bad news for all of us. So again, the reason I bring this up and want to call your attention to this as a problem is because I want to fix the problem. I don't want depressed SPS values, right? I don't want to see the game fail. If we can fix an issue or an exploit in the game, let's work as a community together to identify it, bring it to the attention of the development team, and fix it for everyone's benefit, right? There's no point in complaining just to complain. And that's why I identified the problem here today with you. And I want to talk about how this problem can be potentially addressed. Because again, complaining to complain or just bringing up problems and throwing up your hands and shrugging your shoulders and saying, hey, this is terrible, the sky is falling, doesn't do anyone any good. So here is when I'm initially thinking of the problem, I'm also looking to possibly think of possible solutions, right? And what we could possibly do as a game and as a community to address the problem I just talked through is basically 2 things. One would be to make soulbound reward cards unlockable. And you would make them unlockable either through the burning of DEC and or vouchers, or through potentially staking SPS on the cards to unlock them, right? I don't know how the second part would work necessarily, because unlocking would most likely be a permanent thing on the blockchain. So more than likely, we would have to burn DEC and or vouchers to unlock a card. But the point here is you want to make there to be a conscious or investment of some type here to make earnings, basically to continue for those cards. Now, Gods Unchained, I've talked about this before, does this already with their daily play and earn system. They have essentially, they give starter decks or ghost card decks to use for players of the game, but you can only earn a minimal amount when you win games with those cards. It's only when in the Gods Unchained ecosystem you burn Flux and Gods tokens, which would essentially be probably similar to DEC and vouchers combined here, when you actually burn those things together to mint a card into a meteorite version of the card, then at that point in time it's unlocked, and then you can earn more rewards with that card. And you can continue leveling up that card by burning more, essentially, Gods tokens and Flux, which was, again, the same as DEC or vouchers. The point being is to earn more in the game, you have to basically sink more also into the game to earn more, right? So that's a key element of the play and earn mechanics of that ecosystem. Now, the reason I bring up making soulbound cards unlockable through a sync of either DEC and or vouchers, it makes you have skin in the game to continue to earn with those cards. And you should couple that with reduce reward earning significantly when using soulbound reward cards. Perhaps this would be similar to how underleveled cards are treated today in Splinterlands, right? Because you don't want someone to, like I just did, basically farm silver level or bronze level reward cards in 2 weeks and then just print SPS forevermore off that. And if I am printing SPS forevermore off those cards that I basically got for free in 2 weeks worth of time, right? It should be very, very minimal rewards unless I spend resources to make them essentially earning type cards, right? Now remember, the issue with soulbound rewards cards is that they can earn indefinitely and thus are similar to, but not the same as, the former ghost cards, but they inherit the same gain economy issues as the ghost cards did previously. The problem with soulbound reward cards is Splinterlands as a company, they can't take away soulbound reward cards from your account. And thus, you really need to put some type of reward, nerf, or bottleneck here on these reward cards, else we really are going to have significant, continuous downward pressure on SPS. Maybe not today, right? Maybe not today when the soulbound reward cards are just released, but a year from now, 2 years from now, this will be a problem, a literal infestation of soulbound bot farm accounts that will tank your value and my value of assets in this game. So that's kind of what I wanted to message. I want to leave you with one last item here today. I want to leave you with a recording of a podcast stream episode that we did with the YGG SPL team. This was about maybe a week and a half ago now. I'm going to leave the clip here to play because I think it's interesting. We talked about this issue a couple weeks ago, and I thought the conversation was pretty entertaining. So I'm going to leave this here for you to listen to. I'm also going to link it in the video description below if you want to listen to the YGG SPL stream that we did a couple weeks ago. Shout out to Rogue, Demore, Luke, and having us on to discuss Splinterlands. Definitely check out that channel if you don't already subscribe to it. And until next time, keep stacking those stats. I agree with Luke. I mean, look, it's good for gamers and gameplay, right? The soulbound chase aspect of the game brings Web 2 familiar concepts to Splinterlands that encourages repeat, interactions basically, and to continue playing the game. which is fine. And I would go so far as to say, I think the challenge with the economy part of this is that they're too generous with those chase rewards, and that is the problem.
Could be.
Because
Could be the problem.
Like, we need to see the data, but I will tell you, based on what I'm seeing, I have legitimate concerns, and I don't want to spoil my alpha for my video, Luke, because we're going to compete, go head to head tomorrow on video.
Come on, spoil for
All
spoil. Come on, Tails.
We need to stop bringing on content creators to more that just coming
they're
in
battling
here,
it out here.
plugging their own videos, just like.
Hey, this is the preview spot. You know when you go to the movies and you watch the previews and they're the best part of the movie? This is it right here. This is the best part of YGG.
Yeah. Check out my videos. It's BULLDOG 1208. Come enjoy my content.
Okay, there we go. There we go. I love it.
Oh my goodness. I love it. That was like the most insulting, like that was great, Tails. That was great. I love that. That was like, that's where Tails and I differ a little bit in this one. Like, his point is 100% valid. I get it, and I'm totally in agreement that at this point they printed a set of reward cards that's a full set, and you can just own these cards and play the game of Splinterlands, which I don't think should have happened at all. Right? They should not have printed a full set of reward cards. If they do follow through on this 2-year print run, yeah, maybe that is like, maybe we will kind of cross that when we get there. But I'm looking for the first season's data, because I'm gonna like take a look at my chests and my averages, and I'm gonna just put some numbers to it. It's like end of season, this is where we're at, this is how much I got. At the end of season, is there still a card that I didn't receive a single copy of? Right? Because if there's a card I didn't receive a single copy of, there's only 24 seasons in a year.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming if you're in bronze, you're going to be getting hardly any at a time,
Singles.
right? Like in champion, my chest had 6 gold foil summoners, and I was like, sweet, I already got that to silver. But at the same time, how likely is it I'm going to get another gold foil rare summoner anytime?
Well, it's only just one day, Luke. It's only one day. There's a lot of days in the year.
Exactly. But like, to double up on that summoner in gold foil in multiple copies, like to max that out, he's got to be 22.
It's numbers, guys. It's numbers. And what's the advantage that bots have? Numbers and time. Numbers and time.
They always give more.
They will play the numbers. They will play the time. And what they're going to do is they're going to have a deck that's going to print SPS forevermore, and they're going to dump the crap out of that SPS on the market forevermore.
It's the only way value out of the game.
This is what. Hey, I'm gonna call it right now. Unless changes are put in place in the game, this is the beginning of the end. I'm calling it.
What?
Whoa, some deep alpha there.
You think DEC SPS airdrop rewards was a mistake for Splinterlands? Got nothing on this.
So, this is the problem. They're always going to be screwed no matter what they do, though, right? Like,
unless they go back to the problem, fix the problem.
Well, sure. The bot farm is a whole other discussion, but I'm just saying in general, the more stuff they do to help onboard or get that gamer mentality of being able to progress and not put in as much money, you're essentially just screwing over those people who are here expecting all the assets to go up. So it's like those things are usually, they can work together if you're getting it in a ton of new players, right? Then it's all boats are rising. But unless you're doing that, those things are kind of in tension with each other in a lot of ways.
Yeah, look at the number of new spell books. You're getting like 7 to 10 new players a day, which, you know, over the course of a year, maybe it's 4,000 players. But yeah, maybe it's bots. But we're not ramping up new players based on this new player experience, and that's the problem.
Not yet. Yeah, and the players that are there are not leveling up, or the bots that are there are not leveling up. Again, you know, they are just selling.
They're renting.
They're just selling, renting and selling, renting and selling, renting and selling. and that.
I mean, I
not
can
sustainable.
see the argument now seeing kind of the way the rental market is and the way that the bots are kind of using it and playing in champion right now. I can actually like I can see the argument now that Chaos Legion was overprinted and that there are plenty of those
Can you
cards.
say that a
in
little
circulation.
louder? I'm gonna record that. Rogue,
Stop
please.
it, Tails. Stop it. You go walk away. But yeah, I can I can definitely see that there's an imbalance at this point, and it's mainly because of the rental market, right? So
So you're saying the rental market is to blame for our conundrum?
Well, the rental market will lead to the unlimited printing of these accounts that can compete at the highest levels of the game, which will lead to indefinite SPS minting, which is the whole point of the ghost reward cards going away. The problem is you can't take away reward cards that are soulbound that you've given to the player base in good faith. This is the genie, the one's out of the bottle, can't be put back. So you've got the rental market exasperating the current trending of basically printing free champion level decks here, because you can rent a champion or diamond level deck and free roll that into this free champion level soulbound reward card deck, because you can rent out, because the rental market prices are so cheap, you can rent out a deck to play at the highest levels to get those 7 gold foil drops on a daily basis today, and it pays for itself. Literally, the SPS rewards that you would get by playing today would pay for your rentals for today and tomorrow. So there's no reason why bot farms, Crowmancer, Demormancer, Roguemancer, and Botmancer can't just spin up everything right now, and literally a year from now, all of us will kill the game because we'll all be printing our own SPS at the highest levels of the game. And what are we going to do with that SPS? Well, because it's the only thing we're earning, we're probably going to sell it, and it's going to drive the price of SPS into the ground. Now, that's in a vacuum. Obviously, when if the flywheel kicks in and we're burning more DC and all that other stuff, that can impact the economy, right? So I don't want to discount that. What I'm saying is every good thing that the design team is trying to put in place with DEC syncs and voucher syncs and other things to try and get this flywheel into motion, you just basically blew up like 2 years of that flywheel by just releasing this soulbound reward cards. And why did you release soulbound reward cards? You released soulbound reward cards to fight bots, but in fact, bots are going to use this to break the game.
Yeah.
Well, first of all,
Tails.
can we get...
We need some hopium here, guys. We need some hopium here.
All right. First of all,
Doiden. Someone dial up Doiden.
can we just agree we need a flywheel meme? Like someone who can make us like the amount of times I hear the damn word flywheel is
I got it.
insane. Okay.
There you go.
You haven't
There
seen my
you go.
Twitter, Luke. I've got the flywheel meme. I'm gonna retweet my flywheel meme to you on Twitter right now.
Okay, thank you.
All right, hold on. Yeah, let's go to Twitter.
I think though, the ironic thing is that like what they're doing is helpful for a player experience, but
Yes.
because you have bot farms that can take advantage of that, that's my issue,
It's
right? Is like
dangerous.
I'm fine with someone running like 5 or 6 bots, but I am very sick of playing Arushard and Chung Till and Archmaid bots 80% of my matches.
Yeah, it's not fun. And the issue is the fact that they are extracting and putting selling pressure on a coin that we want to go up. And if there's continuous selling pressure, the only way it can go is down, sadly. And that is a really, really big failure in the system.
What do you mean a pump to 3 cents? We're going to the moon.
I tell you what, like honestly, the movement of the market right now has actually kind of pissed me off a little bit. Tails, you gonna do this? Like I'm literally on Twitter, just stalking your profile.
Find it. I have so much great content on Twitter. I gotta find my.
I have to
my
find it.
flywheel
You
meme.
are like very active on Twitter. I do like 1 post or 2 a week. Flywheel. Flywheel.
Yes.
Is that the mime? Is that the mime finally?
That's a goodie. That's a good
That
one
is
right there.
the SPSDC.
That's the flywheel. I love it. I love it.
Is that
I
mean
am a
that the
happy
flywheel
man.
is not working?
Well, it does work for a little bit. Did you see there? It was like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was
You're right.
2 seconds, and then no.
The
Fair.
beauty of the GIF is it really does a good job of highlighting that we're gonna keep doing it, even if it fails.